Hey there kiddos, Mr. King here with another awesome art lesson. This one is really mainly for the kids in the classroom because it involves actually designing our own masks. Now, I have these plain white cotton masks. If you are at home and you want to do this, everything will work exactly the same. The one thing I'm going to be using is I'm going to be using some Prismacolor watercolor pencils to add color to my work. If you get either the Prismacolor watercolor pencils, any watercolor pencil in general, or even better is Inktense pencils, but they're kind of expensive. They're all available on Amazon. You could do this too. You're going to want a plain white cotton mask, and then you're going to want some sort of watercolor or ink pencil. You could actually do this with just using cake watercolors or some sort of dye. It's really up to you. But if you can get your hands on a plain white cotton mask, we can make this work as something really cool. So what we are going to do is we are going to make a really awesome design with this. I'll show you an example in a minute, but the first step of this is to get 4 pieces of duct tape. So we want duct tape because it is super sticky. It'll work really well for this. I'm going to do one side of my mask with the duct tape over here. I'm going to stretch my mask out and try to do the other side over here. And what we're trying to do is get it nice and taut. So I'm going to pull the top up to this piece up here. And then this bottom one, so I have to actually rip another piece of duct tape, and I'm going to do a small one down here at the bottom. Now you're trying to allow yourself to have some open workspace here, but you see how it's nice and tight on the table. Let me move the camera a little bit so you can see it. Now I've got basically a canvas to work on, and that's going to make my life a lot easier. The only downside is that does cover a little bit of cloth, but I'm willing to sacrifice that to make it a lot easier to work on. For the younger guys coming in, this is just a note for the teacher coming in for substitute. You're gonna, want to quickly before they come in, if you can, chop up some pieces to put on the edge of the desk, and you can tape it on for them. That should be relatively manageable. I know it's kind of a pain, but it's the best solution I've been able to come up with. So here we go. You guys ready? Permanent marker. Always such an amazing thing. Permanent markers are just markers that use alcohol to move the ink, like rubbing alcohol, and that becomes, or something close to it, that becomes a really good way to put ink on that doesn't wash away with water. If you have a water-based marker and you put water on there, you're in trouble. So what we are going to do is we're going to draw our design with this marker. So the one that I did before, I'm going to show you now, honestly. If you want to just draw a really, really cool pattern, remember it's a design-based thing, so it's functional already, it's a mask. Now we're trying to make it look good. So you could draw flowers, you could draw like a cool like zigzagging pattern, but one that I think is just funny is either if you do teeth, because you just want to do something funny with your own smile, like give yourself a goofy smile, or you do like an animal mouth. Now I love the animal mouth ones. That's one that I did for another example. I'm going to show you guys how right here, and then I'll include a couple pictures if I can of some other ideas. But here we go. The animal mouth is actually really, really easy. Most animals have a similar mouth. Think dog, think cat, think rabbit, almost anything. Where we're actually going to start near the middle, maybe a little higher, with an upside down triangle. I'm just going to use my marker right away. I advise you, you're not going to be able to see it on camera, but to sketch it out in pencil first. You might be able to kind of see that line. It's a little faint. But actually, we could do that. We could sketch it out in pencil because you can erase pencil on cloth even pretty well. If I can find, you guys can kind of see. Yes, indeed, it does erase pretty well enough for us. So we're going to make our triangle upside down right here. Once you have it the way you want it, that's where you're going to use your permanent marker. Now drawing on cloth is difficult. It's going to want to move around on you. So for the younger guys doing this, it's okay if it doesn't look perfect, but you're looking for that upside down triangle. That is going to be the nose. I'm going to put some bumps in here for our nostril. A little bigger. Just little kind of half circles. And then I like doing that little separation line down the middle because most animals have that going down their nose. Okay, looks pretty good. All right, so we got our nose done. Now the next part is going to be the mouth. Now you got to remember the separation of the mouth. I could do that in pencil. It's going to be a curve out this way and a curve out that way. I'm just going to go straight in with marker to save some time for you guys for this video. So I'm going to draw a line straight down. However far I want to put it depends on what kind of a mouth. If it's something with a big, broad mouth like a bear or something, I'm going to bring that line lower. But I'm going to do, I don't really know yet. Maybe I'm feeling a little bit more, you know, let's do a bunny rabbit. So right here, you see this little wrinkle from where it pleats in over here. I'm gonna pull that down with my non-drawing hand just to give myself a little bit more space. Trying to make these as close to each other as I can. The same kind of curve. It's a little bit off, but that's really good enough. Okay, and then I'm gonna actually make that line down here a little bit thicker because you gotta think maybe like what color the lips of the animal. Now you could choose to outline that and make the lips for the animal colored, but I'm just gonna make it black because my rabbit lips are gonna be black. And then I'm gonna do this rabbit teeth, sticking out buck teeth. So I'm gonna do one line here, one line there, one going across, and let's do that line down the middle. Look at that. That is a cute little bunny rabbit. So then you gotta do those little whisker dots for where the whiskers, you know, start. I might include finished drawings of the whiskers when I'm all done, but I'm not gonna put them in right now. So just making some dots. Remember, when you make dots, the marker, do not jam down. That really destroys the nib of the marker. Just press. Okay, taking it. I'm gonna do little vertical lines here on the edge of the nose just to show where the cheekbones go, you know, up from the nose, like around the edge of the nose, where the cheekbones meet. So, or actually more of the eye sockets there, but we're not splitting hairs. It's a good pun. And that's really the basics of what I need to do for all of my drawing. That looks like a bunny rabbit. The other one I did is more of kind of like a generic dog nose. It's really close to the bunny though. These all look kind of similar when you do the animal faces. If you wanted to turn it into a tiger, I would have pointed teeth coming out from over here, and then I'd obviously have some tiger stripes across this. So, you know, it really, they look similar. A lot of animals have a very similar mouth, and that kind of makes it easy for this. So the next part is going to be add color. So I've got my watercolor pencils here. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to denote a couple of colors that I want to use for this. I am going to make, what am I going to make my rabbit? Let's do kind of some, maybe yellow. Let's do like a goofy, like a color that wouldn't exist in reality. Let's do blue. Let's make him a blue bunny. So I'm going to take my blue, I'm going to gently press down with it, and I'm going to go around. And this is my light blue to start with. And I'm going to go all around, and you know, it's not gonna color in super dark at first, but just trust me, it's gonna look better in a minute. So you're gonna sketch that right in. I'm actually gonna do the bridge of the nose. I'll leave that a little whiter. Do a little bit of color down the center. I kind of like the idea of leaving some white there. I think that'll look good. And it can be annoying when you get to these pleated parts, so sometimes using your non-drawing hand, kind of pulling them a little bit, makes it a lot easier. If the cloth is held nice and tight, it'll be simpler to do. Let's do a little blue down here. Just kind of sketching it in and over. I'm gonna leave the teeth white, so we're gonna have a lot of kind of a white and blue motif here. And then I'm going to do, let's do a dark blue, striped right down the middle of the nose a little bit. Let's put a little dark blue over on kind of the edges of the mouth and the cheek here. Do it underneath. You can see where the cloth is getting a little stretched out and a little harder to work with, but it's really not that bad. I'm just trying to put down a little bit of marker, or a little bit of color. Just trying to kind of go along the same lines that I've created so far, just to give it a little more interest of color. Because doing just straight light blue all around is just not going to be exciting. Okay, looking pretty good. And then lastly, put a little pink on that nose. Cute little pink bunny nose. I could do maybe like a stripe of red in the middle there, which I might do, right on that little seam in the nose, just to, again, give it a little more interest. All right, I think it looks really nice. So that's gonna be the basics of it. You guys can already see it's coming out pretty good, but watch this. Take that brush, dip it in your wash cup, get it nice and wet this time. I know usually I tell you guys not too much water, but right now I'm telling you go for it. Add lots of water. Because what you're gonna do is you're gonna soak that cotton, and that is going to cause that paint to actually activate and turn into watercolors, and it's going to absorb into the cotton, and the colors kind of come alive, as you can see right here. I think that looks really nice. Again, you might have to stretch it out a little bit in certain spots, but I think it's going to look super nice. I already like how this is looking. My blue bunny. Why blue? Because I think it's more exciting that way. A lot of water for this, by the way, because you really got to kind of get it. The cotton's going to absorb a lot. Now you can really see where that dark blue was, right? And how much that makes it look almost like little shadows. I really dig how that is. Oh yeah. He looks good. Little Peter Cottontail here. And let's do a little bit up here on the nose. Let that kind of color seep out either direction. And then on the nose itself too, like on the pink of the nose. Oh yes, quite nice. I'm very pleased with this. And there you have it. I think that's a very cute bunny face right there, right? I mean, come on. That's quality stuff for a homemade mask. So these are really fun. I just think, you know, you're gonna dig wearing these guys. And they'll be yours. You made them yourself. Now I understand in most of the artwork that we do, I like to allow you guys to be able to fix, erase, paint over. This doesn't really allow that. You kind of just have to go for it. If you make a mistake, I want you to try to work with it, okay? Don't give up. The one thing I will mention is that it will be, you can try these on to see what they look like, swap them out for your mask really fast, but you really are gonna have to wait the day to wear these. They're wet. And if you know anything about a wet mask, especially you guys have been running around with them on outside and stuff like that, once they get wet, they're not breathable anymore. So you're gonna have to wait for this to dry out. It'll also help the paint set into the cotton. And to warn your parents, please, I'll try to put it in the Google Classroom, but please, because word of mouth is the best way, tell them to wash these separately. There's not a lot of color bleeding that will happen, but it's enough. I don't want it to ruin like really nice clothing. Okay, I think most parents would know that. If you don't want to wash them separately in the washer, just taking them in the sink and washing them under the water for a little bit and just letting them kind of soak is really going to help get a lot of the extra pigment out that's going to end up bleeding out or soaking out. It's going to be a little lighter when it's done. You're not going to see quite as much. But this is basically what it'll look like. Here is an example of another animal face. I think these look quite snazzy. So you might have seen other kids who walked around with the big smiling teeth and stuff like that. That's a good one too. But really, I just want you guys to have another mask and something very artistic you can wear, which is a lot of fun. But you will notice one thing. I don't know if you guys can see it on the camera, but these teeth, the blue's starting to bleed up into the teeth. It's hard, and the blue's starting to get into the nose too. It's very hard to control the color. The marker will stay still. The color will not. It'll bleed all over the place. And when I say bleed, it'll kind of ooze through the cotton, through the black, and into different spaces. So just be careful that you don't draw something that has to have one spot like this, has to say pure white. It really won't. So just watch out for that, okay? So, you know, pretty cool. So I want to see what you guys can make, what you're capable of. Make them as fun as you want. If you just want to draw like, you know, peace signs and flowers and fun little designs on it, that is totally acceptable too. But I think the animal faces are a lot of fun. And the big smiling teeth stuff is pretty cool too. So that's it. I hope you guys have a good time. I will see you again on Thursday, and have a great one. Bye.